Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Kristen, and yeah, today we are having a Chipotle mukbang with answering y'all's questions. I just fed my baby lunch, and I did not clean the table off or some crumbs. Anyway, real life here, y'all. I've got a Pepsi here. Y'all submitted some questions on Instagram and also here on YouTube in the communities tab. So front and back, lots of questions. So we will go through that. Sorry about my hair. Like I can't with it today. I can't. It's so friggin' flat. And then if I flip it all over this way, like it doesn't look too bad, but then it like starts falling into my face. And I'm just like, I can't. But it's not quite long enough to stick it all back in a ponytail. So I'm just like, I'm all over the place with it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know where to stick it. It's driving me crazy today. So, let's see. So at Chipotle today, I ordered one of their burrito bowls. I got some chips, and I also got some queso. So I am so hungry. I did not eat breakfast, and I'm so hungry. Are y'all hungry too? Y'all gonna eat with me? Y'all ready? I have not done a mukbang in ages. Oh my gosh. I used to do mukbangs a lot. That's a great place to put my chips. So in my burrito bowl, let me see, I got a real fork here. In my burrito bowl, I have brown rice, chicken, black beans, lettuce, I almost said mayonnaise, sour cream, queso cheese, corn, and their shredded cheese. And then I do have their queso right here. So let's a little bite. I originally wanted to get Subway, but when I pulled out, they asked me like, "Oh, these chips are cold. What the heck?" They're so good. Let's see if we can get a thumbnail. So, anyways. I was gonna do Subway. I pull up, and the lady's like, can you wait a minute? She's nicer than that. She's like, can you give me a minute? I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'm sitting, and I'm sitting, and I'm sitting, and I'm sitting some more. And then over the intercom, I hear her yell out and say, and she said it really rudely to her coworker. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was along the lines of like, how do you ring this up? But like the way she said it was super rude. And then I hear her yell out again, I did that already. Like just really hateful. I'd like to think it's just because she was frustrated, but like she sounded really nasty towards her coworker. And I kept sitting and sitting and sitting. And then I hear her say, so that's how you do it. And then I'm sitting, and I'm sitting, and I'm sitting. And like, she just never came on the intercom, like, after telling me to please wait. Which I'm normally completely fine with, like, waiting. But, like, I sat there probably close to 5 minutes. And, like, nothing. So I left. I was like, I got a 3-hour window here. I gotta feed my baby lunch and put him down for a nap. And then I need to film this video. And then, like, I need to get another video posted for the day. And, like, I don't got time to sit here while you figure out whatever you're doing. So I went down to Chipotle, but let me tell you, some soup from Subway sounded amazing. If you're wondering about these boxes off to the side, the top one here is diapers for the baby, and bottom one here is wipes for the baby. In case you didn't know what that was. Let's go ahead and get on into this. Oh, it looks good. Do you hear that? All the moving around. I know some of y'all like the little ASMR action, the crunching and the sounds. If I had a microphone, I'd bring you in closer, but I film on my cell phone. So good. I almost think I should have got a spoon for this. So how are you guys doing? I know I'm getting slow into the questions, but I'm just like, I'm so hungry. If you guys are eating with me, what are you eating? Let me know. Okay. So, Growing Up Gorgeously asks, maybe some updates on your low buy, no buy, if that's something you're still doing. If you've seen my hauls lately, I don't even remember when I did the low buy, no buy. I mean, I know that I did it, and I did it for a couple of months, but I can't remember if I started trying to do that this past January, February, or if it was the year prior to that. I definitely learned a lot from that, and I would not be opposed to doing it again, but my husband and I have worked so hard to pay off a big chunk of our bills that here lately it's kind of been like a free-for-all where I'm just, you know, we're getting our bills paid, we have a little extra money. My baby is supposed to be napping. He is not. Yeah, we just have a little extra money and I'm spending it. I'm just enjoying having pocket money, you know, so instead of saving like I should, which we have a decent savings, but instead of saving like I should, I'm just like spending. It was so funny. I had my baby sitting in here at the table when I brought in his lunch. When I walked in, he goes, yes. It was the cutest thing. Okay, California mom. Are you guys still planning on buying another house? Also, how's the health journey going? It's hard for me to stay on track. Girl, same. I did really good for like a month, and then I've fallen off. Like the month of August, I went to the park and walked every, like Monday through Friday, every day for a month. I think I missed like 2 days. And then I was eating super healthy for the most part. Breakfast and lunch was super healthy. Dinner was questionable, but doing really good. I have fallen off the bandwagon. Excuse me. I am still trying to eat better, but it's nowhere like what I was doing. And I'm not getting to the park for my walks like I was. It's just hard. Like when you have little kids, it is just hard to get things orchestrated to go do anything unless it involves them. And normally I'd say, yeah, like I can just bring the kids with me, and I can, but with my husband's schedule and us both donating plasma and getting that all worked in, because that's a decent little chunk of money that we get, we don't want to miss that. And then we like to have dinners as a family, and even when we all get to the park together, or just me and the kids early in the morning, like sometimes my oldest boy Levi, he's 4, sometimes he's fantastic and does a great job doing the whole mile. Other times he gets halfway through and he's done, he's tired, but he doesn't want to go in the stroller, and it's just a meltdown city. So it's not easy. Not easy at all. What I need is a gym that has a daycare center. That's what I need. But with, you know, this lovely virus going around, makes it rather difficult. I don't even know if the gym here in town that has the daycare center, I don't know if the daycare center is even open. And even if it is open, they might have like a limit, like a cap. Like it might be less kids that they take. So like I don't even know. It's, you know, I might show up and get turned away. Like, I think it would be something worth looking into, but I don't know. Maybe we'll look into that for the new year. And as for buying another house, I am so back and forth on this. If you guys watch my vlogs, especially, you guys have heard me talk about houses and like look at houses on Zillow. And you'll also probably know that the house we live in was an inheritance from my grandmother, and so we don't have a mortgage, we don't have anything on the house. And it's quite nice not having a mortgage. The more that I look into houses and the houses that I want, the mortgage on those are close to $800 to $1,000 a month, and I'm like, I don't want to pay that much money on a mortgage. So I don't know what we'll end up doing. We've talked a little bit about maybe just expanding out the back of the house. The issue here is that you still have the safety from the neighborhood. Like literally last week, we overheard our neighbor, my husband and I were in our garage, and we heard our neighbor get the shakedown for drug money behind our garage in the back alley. Like, that's the kind of neighborhood I'm in, okay? And I'm like, you're right next door, why aren't you doing this in front of your house? So, the neighborhood is rough. And so, even if we invested the money into our property, we have to do it with the understanding that it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. Like, it's not gonna really increase our property value that much because we're just in a low-income neighborhood that has a lot of gang and drug violence. So the flip side to that is if we did, you know, invest the money in the house, we would have a much nicer place to live at a cheaper cost. So from a financial state, if we wanted to live here, you know, forever, it might be worth doing. So it's something we have to decide on, wager, figure out. I'm also very picky with the house that I'm gonna want. Like, I love the old, like, Victorian style homes, but I don't want to give up my yard space. There's a lot of Victorian style homes in my town, but they have very tiny yards, very, very. There's even one for sale right now for $44,000. It's in rough shape, guys. Like, it looks like it's moving ready, but like, you're gonna have to, like, it's rough. Like, floors need redone, walls need redone, and the downside, it's like right next door to an apartment building, and it's so close together, you could not drive a car between the two buildings. Like, they're so close, and the yard is itty bitty, and there's no garage. So we would give up our yard. We sit on just shy of half an acre. We have 0.42 as our yard space, so just shy of half an acre. So we'd give up our yard, we would give up our 2-car garage, but we would gain like a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house for $44,000. So it's kind of like, you know, but then you're also like right on top of this apartment building. So there's pros and cons to everything. But there is a house out in the country. I showed it in one of my vlogs a while ago. It's a Victorian style home. It's on 2 acres of land. It's just outside of town. Like, I can be in Walmart in like 15 minutes, which is not bad. Maybe less. So, and it's a vacant property. Like, nobody lives there. It looks kind of abandoned, and we're pretty sure that the inside's been gutted. So, like, if that became an option, I think we might go for it, and it would probably be under $100,000 just based on Zillow when they were trying to sell it. As is, they're trying to sell it for $85,000. So if that went back on the market, I think we'd be very interested in looking into it because it's like exactly what I want. My husband is like, he's like, there's no point in looking until we're in the place for buying, which I completely understand that, but I know what I want in a house, and like that's like the ticket. That's everything I want in a house. At least based on what I'm seeing on Zillow, so from their old listing. So, I don't know, it'd have to be a very particular house. The other thing we've talked about is buying a rental property for extra income. And there's some pretty decent ones around here. They're in my neighborhood, which everything in my neighborhood, like I said, a lot of it's kind of run down. A lot of it's pretty cheap. There's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house for $35,000 right now. The outside is rough. It looks like it needs a new roof. It looks like it needs new, what's it called? Siding. It looks like the siding's gone on part of the house. It definitely needs some rocks in the driveway. It's like dirt and mud. So it's in rough shape, but like I think it's fairly easy fixes, and especially with a rental property, you could start renting it out and then fix it up as you're getting the monthly rent, you know? So that's something that I'm kind of questioning us doing, because you could easily get $800 a month from a 4-bedroom house for rent, and it'd be $35,000 mortgage, and I think it came out to like just a little over $200 a month estimated mortgage payment. So I'm telling maybe it'd be worth it for us just to get a couple rental properties under our belt before we look into buying a bigger house for ourselves. So I don't know what's going to happen there. We'll see. This next question comes from my friend Tara Ann. She does have a YouTube channel, so I'll link her below. Make sure you go check her out. She has a couple different questions. First one is, are you still looking into foster to adopt kids? Yes, I still want to do that. I definitely want to expand our family. I'm really torn on that one. Like I want to foster babies right now. Like I love the baby phase. I want more of it. Ira is growing up, and so I want more babies. So if you guys don't know a whole lot about foster care, a lot of times kids who go into foster care, the goal is always supposed to be reunification. And the more I look into that, the more I have a better understanding of it. And it's going to be a case by case situation. And I know like on pen and paper, I feel like I'm emotionally ready to handle it. Actually doing it and like giving a kid back to a family that they've been taken away from, actually experiencing that, I'm sure is like a completely different ball game from having it on pen and paper and having a mental understanding of it. So with that in mind, let's say that a kid comes into foster care and they don't get reunified, then you have the option for adoption. And the foster family a lot of times has the first choice on if they want to adopt or not. That's assuming no other family members come out of the woodwork that want to adopt the kid. Well, there's also a whole other list of families who want to adopt a kid, but they don't want to do the foster program. And so my thing that I'm torn on is like, should we go ahead and foster to adopt, and then if the opportunity arises, go ahead and do the adoption? Or would it be really nice for us to be a revolving door for children who just need a safe home, and then be able to help families on the list who, for whatever reason, don't want to do foster care but want to adopt, help them to be able to adopt? Because so often the people on those lists can be on those lists for years and may never get a phone call for an adoption placement because the original foster families adopt the kids when they become available. And that's something that I'm battling with, because I have friends who struggle with fertility, and for a long time until I really started looking into foster care program, my thoughts was like, if you just can't biologically have a kid, why don't you just foster? But here's the thing with that, is that when reunification happens and the kid goes back to their family, then you go from being a mommy to not being a mommy, and that would be so hard. And at least in our position, we still have our boys. We are going to be mom and dad no matter what to our boys. So I can understand why some folks may not want to go the foster route, because they don't know that they can handle that emotional heartbreak of being like, okay, I've been mommy for 6 months and now I got to give the baby away, even though it's coming and it can happen. I can only imagine how hard it would be to go from having your house filled with the laughter of kids and the pitter patter of little feet to like they're gone. Like, that would be devastating. So I understand why some folks just go straight to the list of people who, just want to adopt out of the foster program. So that's something that I've been battling with within myself, is, Should we be a revolving door of just we'll foster and then help a kid get a permanent placement? Or should we adopt for ourselves? And I think the answer to that is we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. You know, I was really hoping to start looking into doing the foster program this coming year. It takes anywhere from 4 to 9 months to get yourself like approved or whatever. But with Ira, if you guys follow my vlogs, you know that he's not walking yet. He's already a year and a half old, but he is not walking. He is finally crawling and he's pulling himself up on furniture. And he walks if you hold his hands, but he's not walking on his own yet. So that means that he's nowhere near ready for a big boy bed. Because our original goal was this coming January, February timeframe was to put the boys in the master bedroom together and have them share a room. But Ira still needs the crib just for the safety feature. So until he is ready to be able to, you know, on his own be in a big boy bed and handle sharing a room with his brother and he's walking, you know, right now our focus is on him. So I don't know what our timeline is right now for foster, but like I definitely still want to do it. I still have it on my heart. I've had doing foster care on my heart since I was probably 15 years old, and I met one of my best friends all through middle and high school, and she was a foster kid. She was adopted out of the foster system by her foster parents, and so it's something that I've just wanted to do since I was a child myself. And like I'm 30 years old now, and that's been something I've wanted to do for the last 15 years, is be able to do foster care. So it's coming. We're getting closer, but right now we gotta focus on Ira and getting him walking and you know, getting him a little bit of independence and letting him be out of the nursery. She also asks, how is school going for Levi? School is going fantastic. He loves it. He's there right now. It's only 3 hours. Sorry, I had a piece of chip stuck between my lip and my tooth. He only goes for 3 hours at a time, and it's like the perfect amount for him. Perfect amount. He loves it, and he's doing really good. She also asks, what are some things you like to do for yourself? Do you ever have moments when you just feel like you need a break from being a mom? How do you deal with stress of mom life? Girl. That is a loaded question. One more bite before we answer. So after having my firstborn, Levi, who's 4, I had this channel long before him, but I quit working shortly into my pregnancy with my firstborn, and I felt very lost. I also felt like I didn't have anything for myself, and that's really what YouTube became for me. It went from being more than just a hobby to really, like, I don't want to say it gave me a purpose, but like, especially during my pregnancy with my first one, it kind of gave me a purpose because I was so used to having a job and so used to working, and then I didn't anymore. And before I had kids, I could get my house clean and it stayed pretty tidy all week. So like I only really needed to dedicate one day to it. Now I got 2 kids and I'm just like cleaning all the time, and I feel like it doesn't matter. So YouTube was definitely the thing that I did for myself. And I feel like even now it's still something that I do for myself. I've also definitely come accustomed to taking a minute for myself if I need it. I'm not a morning person. I need sleep. And I have a small house. I can hear my children in their bedrooms. I just leave my door open. And so if Levi wakes up at 7, Ira's a sleeper, okay? He will sleep till 9 o'clock. But if Levi, he's my morning kid, right? Excuse me. And he wakes up at 7 and I can hear him in there playing, I will let him stay in there and keep playing. I don't feel the need, as long as he's not screaming and crying, I don't feel the need to get up and get him going for the day. I'll keep sleeping, okay? Like I'm a fairly light sleeper and I can hear what he's doing, but I can still lay in bed and keep my eyes closed, right? And so if he's in there, like the way I look at it is like, hey, he's having independent play where he's using his imagination and There's no television or any distractions, just him and his toys and his imagination. Which when I was a kid, I spent hours just playing with my toys. With, you know, I always have my TV on, but like, I spent hours and hours using my imagination and playing. So I can hear everything that he's doing in that room. And if he gets to a point where he like, you know, he's got a pull up on and he potties in his pull up and he's like, I need my diaper changed. Like, I'll get up and get him going. But normally, I can let him sit in there for like an hour and a half after he wakes up and keep sleeping because he'll just play. And then, like I said, Ira will sleep till like 9. So he's not really a problem at this point. So, other questions. Do you ever have a moment where you feel like you just need a break from being a mom? How do you deal with stress with mom life? Girl, being burnt out as a mom is definitely a thing. And I feel it a lot. Not a lot, like often enough it comes. And I hate to say anything negatively about my family. My in-laws live almost an hour away from us. So it's not exactly convenient for them to just, you know, take Levi for the day. My dad works like all the time. And then my mom has some health issues. She has scoliosis and a bad hip. So she cannot physically keep up with the kids by herself more than an hour or two at a time. So I don't have that convenience that some other folks have where you can just call your mom and dad and be like, hey, you want to take the kids for the weekend? Like, I don't get that. I don't get the like, hey, I need a break. Can I drop them off for the day? Can they come spend the day with you? I don't get that. Like, I am full-time, all the time mommy. There's only been a handful of times ever that my kids have either went and stayed with my parents for the day or a couple of hours, and it's only been a handful of times that they've ever done that with my in-laws. We've never had a babysitter. There's been a few times when we've gone on dates and my in-laws or my parents will watch the kids for a couple of hours for us to have a date, but that is months and months in between. And we're talking like just long enough for a date, just long enough for a dinner and a movie. Like, it's not an all-day thing. It's definitely not an overnight thing. Levi stayed the night one time with my parents when he was probably 8 months old, and then he stayed 3 nights with my in-laws when I was in the hospital having Ira. That's it. They've always been with us. So I get jealous sometimes when I hear other moms talk about, oh, my kid's with, you know, their grandma, and I got the day to myself. I'm like, that doesn't happen. Like, that don't happen for me. But it's okay. I mean, I don't blame, it's not anybody's fault, you know, like, it's not like my in-laws don't want to be involved, and it's not like my mom and dad don't want to be involved. It's just not physically possible. So, she also asks, how do you deal with the stress of being a mom? I think the best answer there is trying to keep myself scheduled. As long as I know. Okay, some of y'all might not like the way that I say this, but I look at being a parent as being a job, right? Same with being a housewife, same as being, you know, the caretaker of the house. I look at it as being a job to an extent, okay? Like, I'm obviously mommy and wife and all that stuff all the time, but I try to set my days up so that I am off work by about 7:30, 8 o'clock, which means I stop doing housework after about 7:30, and that's when my kids go to bed. I'm done being mom, unless you wake up in the night and just need me, but I'm done being mom for the day. I'm done doing housewife stuff. This is time for me and my husband to veg out in front of the TV and just be adults grown up by ourselves. And yeah, so that's what I do, is I know that I have a schedule. You know, my day normally starts about 8 o'clock in the morning, getting the kids up, getting them dressed, get them fed, cleaning the house, doing the dishes, all that fun stuff. And whatever is left by 7:30 is left. It can be done the next day. There's always going to be more laundry for tomorrow. There's always going to be more dishes for tomorrow. So it can be very hard to quit working because it is work. And of course, sometimes I gotta work late, you know, but I definitely try to give myself a stopping point, because otherwise, like, you could just go all the way up until you fall into bed and fall asleep and get up and do it all over again. Like, you know, you have to have a point in time where, like, you have yourself, you know? So I definitely try to schedule things out. Hopefully that makes sense. And I schedule things out even to, you know, it's flexible, but round about when we eat, when Levi does his homework, when their playtime is, when their TV time is, when I'm doing dishes and laundry. Like, morning time, I would consider that to be, sorry about that, I had a phone call come through. But like, yeah, like the TV is on, they can play with their toys, and mommy's finishing up breakfast dishes, sometimes dishes from the night before, doing laundry, putting laundry away, vacuuming. Like, those few hours before Levi goes to school is very much like my cleaning time. And then he goes to school, and Ira has lunch and goes down for a nap. And so that's my time to work on YouTube. Supposed to be. Sometimes I veg out in front of the TV and watch shows that I want to watch. And then pick Levi up from school, get him, like, I've started feeding the kids dinner when Levi gets home from school, just because he's still hangry. And then for, like, later on when me and my husband eat, they just have like a light snack. Excuse me. And after he eats, he does his homework, and then it's more playtime, but like, I'm more involved with the playtime. Like, we might be outside playing, we might be here playing with cars or toys or whatever. And that's just kind of how that works. But I try to keep some kind of a semblance of a schedule, kind of like you would if you had like a regular job. I'm not gonna lie, my food is cold now, but it is still super delicious. A really big bite of chicken, but super good. Smoky grilled flavor. Britt L asks, how did you and your husband meet? So I was 22 and he was 30. I had been single for about 6 months from a guy that I had been dating on and off for like over a year, maybe 2 years. And I guess I was 20, I was 22. I was 22 and he was 30. My friend actually went on a date with my husband first, and she was separated from a man who she ended up getting back with, and he became like her husband. But at the time, they had broken up, and she met my husband online, and they went on a date. Well, turns out the whole date time she spent talking about, well, he was her husband, they've now gotten divorced, but her now ex-husband, she spent the whole time talking about him. And so things never went anywhere between my friend and my husband. One date, that was it. But they're like, you know, texting buddies. Like, they talk about stuff. And one day, a text came in, and I was with her. We were hanging out, and I seen it come in. I had her phone for whatever reason. And it was this guy named Mike that I'd never heard of before. And he was talking to her about being the spider slayer and like killing this giant spider in his bathtub. And I guess that was like an ongoing joke that him and her had. And so I was talking to her, because at this point she's already back with her now ex-husband. And so I was like, you know, I didn't even know his age. I didn't know, well, I think I asked his age, but I didn't know what he looked like. I had no idea what he looked like. I didn't know his age. All I knew was his name was Mike, and he could kill spiders. And I was like, is this guy single? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, can you set us up on a date? And so she did, and we had kind of like a little group date. We all met up at this local bar to play pool and have some like wine coolers and play pool. And her now ex-husband stayed at the bar with us for a couple of hours, and then they left. And then me and my now husband really hit it off, and we stayed at the bar just talking to each other until 3 a.m. when the bar closed and they kicked us out. And him and I have pretty much been inseparable ever since. So that's how we met. The way to a man's heart, maybe through his stomach, but the way to my heart is telling me you can kill spiders. Because I hate spiders. Oh, I'm an arachnophobe. Freak me out. Not a fan. They can stay outside. I don't want them in the house. And I'm not kidding when I say I'm an arachnophobe. Like, I'm better than I was when I was younger. But watching them move makes me mildly nauseous. Just their spindly little legs going. And it's like a love-hate relationship because I have watched spiders outside like spin their webs and catch bugs. And it's fascinating when they're outside. When they're inside, or if they're on the ground and they're running at me. I've had them outside running at me and no thank you. I don't want them in my house. I don't want them inside. I don't want them running at me outside. If they're in their web at a safe distance, I can watch them. But if they're inside and I have to see them moving around, like getting close to me, no, they make me mildly nauseous. I have literally cried about spiders before. There was one I could not kill one time in my bedroom when I was still living with my parents, but I was probably 19 or 20. And I was sobbing. I called my friend sobbing because I could not kill this spider. Killing a spider, it has to be in a very particular place where I know I can get the kill shot. If there's a chance that they're going to fall and possibly touch me, I can't do it. I don't want them touching me at all. The idea of them touching me freaks me out. When I was in high school, I had to do a bug collection for science class, and they tell you catch the bug, put them in the freezer, they freeze to death, whatever, and then you pin them on a board. Well, my mom was nice enough to catch this big, I think they're called like banana spiders or corn spiders, with these big black spiders, like these yellow markings. Caught one for me, put it in the freezer, but then it was my job to pin it to the board. And I did everything I could using tweezers to get it adjusted to pin it to the board. And then I was like, this is ridiculous, this thing is dead, I shouldn't be scared, I'm gonna make myself touch it. But the whole time I felt nauseous and sick to my stomach. And I finally made myself, with the tiniest finger, tiniest little stroke, touch its, not abdomen, but like the, you know, the back part of it, the round part. Is that the thorax? I don't remember. Made myself touch it, and I burst into tears and wanted to vomit because I touched a spider. Like, it just, I was a lot worse when I was younger, but, and then like the sound they make when you crush them, oh God, that just makes me want to vomit even more. Like, I don't do good with spiders. No, thank you. So, knowing that there's a man out there that could kill spiders, because there was a guy that like I was friends with, like we kind of dated, but like we were never boyfriend-girlfriend dating. He didn't like him either, and that was one reason why I was like, this is never gonna work. Like, if you can't kill them and I can't kill them, we're not gonna survive. Like, so. Patricia, I'm probably gonna pronounce your last name wrong. I'm really sorry. Mojica? Ideas on activities for toddlers. Girl, if you find some, let me know. Levi does not sit still very well for anything. We just had a conversation with his teacher yesterday because she needed him to sit still for circle time, but he would not do it. And so we had to get on him when he got home and tell him, you know, if you misbehave your teacher again, you're going to go in timeout and you're going to lose TV time for the rest of the day. Like, no TV. And the teacher knows this, so she can use that as a threat if he doesn't want to behave. But getting him to sit still for activities, hard. He likes to go for runs at the park. He likes to run around the backyard. He likes to watch TV and play with his iPad, but we have to very much limit that, especially the iPad. He gets so angry with the iPad very easily. He likes to play with his Hot Wheels and use his imagination. He likes to read books in the evening time. He likes to paint, but he doesn't like to color with like regular crayons. And he doesn't want to finger paint. He doesn't want to like get it on his fingers. He doesn't like touching it, but like with a paintbrush, he'll paint. He likes to play with the dog. He likes to get on the trampoline. He's very active. He's not one of those kids that's like, let's do an activity. Like, that's not him at all. If you have super little ones, you can do like sensory activities. Like for Ira the other day, I put him in his high chair with his high chair tray and put like whipped cream on there, and he was able to play with it with like marshmallows and chocolate chips, and he could play with it and smear it around and rub it on his face, and he loved it. So little ones, there are things like that, but as far as older ones, like my 4-year-old, I don't know. We don't really do activities, I guess. I don't know. Oh, sorry. I'm doing these all in reverse. Okay. Let's see. This page was the first set of questions. So I'm sorry. I was trying to go in order of who asked questions first, but I went backwards. These questions in particular are from Instagram. The ones on the back, I never said where these ones came from. So I'm not sure where we start the YouTube questions and where we stop the Instagram questions. I don't think it really matters that much. So we have a question here from Melissa Caitlin. She's also one of my friends here on YouTube, and she also has a channel, so I will link her below. Go check her out in the description box. If you don't know how to get to the description box, right under this video there should be like a little tiny black downward pointing triangle. You click that and it should expand the whole thing out. I know since they changed up the look and layout, some folks haven't been able to find the description box, so kind of gives you an idea what you're looking for. I made it super tiny and easy to miss. So, Melissa asks, how is Levi doing with therapy? We have quit going. If you guys don't know what that's about, we were having some major behavioral issues with him, and we were really going for therapy for me and my husband because we really wanted to know how to parent him and the way he was behaving. Like, we just couldn't get a handle on it. School has helped immensely. Just having him with that constant social interaction and the structure of school, which I feel like we try to keep a fairly structured household anyways, but it just wasn't enough. I don't know. But yeah, school has been a big help with him and how he's behaving. Our therapist did suggest that he may be on the autism spectrum. We are really leaning towards ADHD. He takes a lot of that, like a lot of the marks for ADHD. He takes a lot of it, but he's 4, so he's a bit too young for a diagnosis. He may grow out of it. He does take some of the things for the autism spectrum, especially the lower end, like Asperger's. So we'll see what comes of it, but we've decided just to wait and see if the school decides he needs to have an evaluation done. If they do, then we'll have it done. If not, then we won't worry about it. Because the therapist we were going to, I hate to say anything bad or negative about her because she was super nice. Really enjoyed our visits, but it really didn't feel like anything. I didn't feel like we weren't really getting any help. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Like, anything she suggested, we were already doing or had tried, and it just seemed like they sat there and played with Hot Wheels. And I had to initiate all of the conversation at the end. Like, I really expected there to be like 10 minutes at the end of the therapy appointment where like she would tell me her thoughts or what she's seeing or what's going on. We went for like a month, and that never happened. It was always me bringing it up and talking about what we're seeing, what's going on. And when she finally said he may be on the autism spectrum, you need to get him diagnosed, was kind of when we decided, okay, this isn't the right place for us, because on her list of things that she could diagnose for was autism. And it's like, that's on your list of things that you do, like, and you're telling me I needed to take him someplace else. Like, so we've quit going, but like I said, school has helped him immensely. So far, school has not said anything about him being diagnosed or tested for autism. But again, he's 4 and he's in preschool. So we'll see as it goes on how things pan out. Big bites. Let's get a chip here, and then we'll move on to our next question. We've got two more questions. So, Stone Cold Con says, did you lose your baby weight from your first pregnancy before your second? I want to go for baby number 2, but haven't lost any of the baby weight. and concerned about having a plus-size pregnancy and any complications that I could have. So with Levi, I was overweight before I got pregnant with him. I'd lost a decent amount, like 15 to 20 pounds, and I was about 260 to 65 pounds when I got pregnant with him. When I had him, I think I was sitting at like 293. And then after having him, just from the pure stress of having a newborn, I lost the weight because I just wasn't eating. I didn't have time, right? So I did lose all the weight, and I don't think I got back down to 265. I think I was like around 270, 275, like a 10-pound difference before I got pregnant with Ira. With Ira, and both pregnancies were overall healthy and smooth. Delivery, not so much. Well, it's not with Ira, but not with Levi. I ended up having an emergency C-section. With my city, there's a citywide mandate that says if you ever have a C-section, any following pregnancies must also be C-section. So with Ira, he was a scheduled C-section, went beautifully. He was also breech, so he'd have been a C-section regardless, but planned C-section with Ira. I weighed a little over 300 pounds at delivery. I want to say I was at 310. And I did have some complications with him. It's part of why I decided to get my tubes tied, though I kind of already decided on having a tubal ligation before I even got pregnant with him. Mostly just because I'm getting older. At 35, 35 and over is considered a geriatric pregnancy. It's more high risk just because of age. I have to have C-sections, which when I decided to have my tubal ligation, the only C-section I had from experience was the one with Levi, which was an emergency, and it was terrifying, and it felt like a train wreck, and it was a mess, and the recovery was hard. Had I known how easy recovery is from a planned C-section, it might have swayed my decision to get a tubal ligation a little bit. I'll be honest, I was kind of afraid to do another C-section. And the one with Ira, like I was literally outside doing yard work at the end of the week. And with Levi, I was held up for like a month or more. Like it took 3 months before I started feeling normal. And I had a hard time getting up and down and moving around for like a good month after him. But I also did labor and delivery for 24 hours before having the emergency C-section. So had I known then what I know now, I may have held off a little bit on getting the tubal ligation. But then I still come back to the thought of like, I still had some minor complications with Ira. I did develop high blood pressure. They were concerned about it turning into, what is it called? It's I can't remember what it's called. It's where like, you have to like pee in this jug and stuff all the time. Like, I can't think of what it's called. But thankfully, it never turned into that. It stayed at just high blood pressure, and they're able to put me on medication to monitor it. And the high blood pressure medication took care of everything. And then I also developed pregnancy-related carpal tunnel in my arms, in my hands. And I was told, and it was like the last month of my pregnancy that I developed this. And my doctor told me that it should all go away within the first 3 months after delivery. And it didn't. I still have problems with it. It's not near as bad as it was. It has definitely gotten better. But my hands are not as strong as they used to be. I cannot grip things as tightly as I used to. And in the throes of this, when this was the worst, I was afraid to pick up Ira because I was afraid I would drop him because my hands are so weak. And like my arms would just go numb all the way up to my elbows. And then there were times I'd go to pick Levi up to put him on his changing table. And I would literally have to put my hands in a fist and slide my fists in between his arms and lift him that way because I could not pick him up. I could not physically pick him up. So that was pretty rough, and I would hate to go through that again. So, and my doctor, I was talking to her before I had the tubal ligation, and she said, you know, there's a chance that if you lost weight, the next pregnancy it could be easier. You may not have these problems. But with your age, you might still have problems. Because after having a C-section, it's recommended, at least by my doctor, that you wait 18 months before you get pregnant. Again, just to make sure you're fully healed. So if I waited until he was 18 months old, he was a year old in May. So we got May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So it'd be like February of next year before I would technically be able to get pregnant again. I can do it right now, but like it would not be recommended by my doctor. So you're talking February of next year, so that puts me close to 31. So I would be pushing 32 before I delivered. And so that's still under being a geriatric pregnancy. However, I'm still plus size. So, I mean, that's really a call that you gotta make on your own. I can't answer that for you. For myself personally, with my age being considered and my weight, I feel like it was better for us just to call it off while we were ahead and be like, we're done while we're ahead, calling it off. You know, I mean, losing weight has never been something that I've ever been very good at doing. I was talking about my health journey from the last video, or the last couple questions. I made it 1 month, you know, like, it's not something I'm good at doing. So, we really felt it was just, for myself personally, better to end it while we were ahead. So, what I'd say to you is take into consideration your weight, take into consideration your age, and consult with your doctor and see what they think. Do they think you're healthy enough to handle a healthy pregnancy? If your doctor says you're good to go, then I say go for it. If your doctor thinks you need to lose a little weight first, or thinks there's possibility for bigger complications or issues or higher risks, then, you know, listen to your doctor. So that would be my suggestion, is go talk to your doctor. Whew, weird burps. Last question, and I feel like I'm gonna mispronounce this one too. Yarbrough? Sorry. 2013. I am new to your YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome. So how about, what state do you live in? I live in the state of Indiana, in the country of the United States. I say that because I've had people out in California before say, oh, you live in India? What part? And I'm like, it's Indiana. Literally a state in the same country that you live in, not India. And they're like, I didn't know it was a state. I'm like, are we not taking the same history classes in high school here? Like, so, yeah, Indiana is the state that I live in. How long have you and your husband been married? We got married in 2014. So, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Made 7 years of marriage, but 8 years of being together, because we were together a year before we got married. We're actually coming up on 9 years of being together this November. So, yeah, we got married in March of 2014. Do you have any pets? Yes, we've got a black cat named Banjo. We have our little orange cat named Oliver. And we have our hound mix, our dog, named Yoshi. She says, if so, how many? 3. Are you thinking about having any more kids? And are you religious? I did grow up going to church. I went to a non-denominational church. At least it says it's non-denominational. As I've gotten older, I've come to realize it's very much so based off of Baptist. It just doesn't claim to be Baptist, but it's very much based off being Baptist. I also grew up going to a Pentecostal church because my mom grew up in a Pentecostal church, and then her parents switched over going to a Baptist church, the one that we go to now, non-denominational. So growing up, we kind of bounced around between the two. We mostly went to the non-denominational church, but sometimes we would go to the Pentecostal church. Pentecostal view and lifestyle and all that stuff kind of went out the window for me when I went to a church camp at about 10 or 11 years old, and I was wearing a pair of jeans on the first day, and a boy also wearing a pair of jeans literally pointed at me and said, "You're gonna go to hell for wearing jeans." And I'm like, "You're wearing jeans too?" Like, see you there. So I kind of really realized that even though I enjoyed the church I went to, that I didn't necessarily agree with or jive with everything that they teach. And then when I was in middle school, the friend I told you guys about that was adopted through foster care, she was Mormon. And so I started going to youth group with her at her Mormon church. Or what else is it called? It's not just Mormon, it's I'm forgetting part of it. Something Latter-day Saints. Anyway, yeah, so I grew up going between a Baptist church, a Pentecostal church, and a Mormon church. I was everywhere. But with the Mormon church, on Wednesday nights they preached out of the King James Bible, which is what my church used, and it was very non-denominational based. They would touch on things that came from the Mormon belief, but for the most part it was very non-denominational. They did not preach anything out of the Book of Mormon on Wednesday night Sunday school, so I never really learned a whole lot about the Mormon religion. I guess I might maybe know a little bit more than other people, but definitely not as much as somebody who is really involved in the Mormon church. I know like the bare minimum. But I did grow up going between all three. And as for us having more kids, not biologically, unless it happens by the grace of God. It's going to be a miracle baby if I get pregnant. Could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? Very unlikely. But I would definitely like to have more kids. And the option we were looking at for that is foster care. Now, whether that means that we will adopt, or if that means we will just be foster parents and be a revolving door for children who need a placement, that is yet to be determined. We'll see when we get there, but it's definitely something that we hope and plan to do. We want to have a little girl. I want all the experiences life has to offer. And we got 2 little boys. I want a little girl. That's the other thing with having tubal ligation. Just based on my husband's family history, more than likely, we would just keep having boys. They have, I always keep saying they have 13 grandkids. They have 12 grandkids. I don't know where that other grandkid is coming from. They have 12 grandkids. Only one of them is a girl. It just, more than likely, we would just keep having boys. So if I ever want to have a girl, she's gonna have to come from somebody else. So let me finish that chip. Oh, this video is gonna be like an hour long. Thank you so much for watching. That is everything for me today. If you're new here, I hope you take the time to check out my channel, see if there's anything else you'd like to watch. I do a lot of grocery hauls, mommy vlogger content, things of that nature. If you've been with me for a long time, I want to say thank you so much for watching and hanging out and being with me. And thank you to everyone who submitted questions. If you guys really like these, let me know and maybe I'll post for more questions on Instagram and on the community tab. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's everything. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I'll catch you guys in my next video.